achieve success with Global.Media.com. Every step forward is a new beat to your drum. Achieve success with Global.Media.com. Let's celebrate it with or without champagne.
Hello, my friends. Welcome. Africa Business Talks is our show today, as always, at this time, Tuesday, every other week, 5 p.m. I'm playing my music to myself again, but that's fine. I just silence myself. So now we're live. So wait for our friends to join us. I can see two of you here already. So if you're here, please drop us a comment. I'd love to know. Natalie, of course, Nat's here. How you doing, Nat? Great to see you, Nat. I was hoping you're going to come on stage, Nat. Turn your camera off, Natalie. Turn your camera off, of course. How you doing, Nat? Hopefully you're in one piece. We planned a whole day for us on the 18th, right? When Miss Angelica is here in London. So we're going to basically do what we do, Nat, always. So we're going to meet up. We're going to go to Paulette's, have lunch at Paulette's. Going to do a show, Miss Angelica. But no, we've sorted out your taxi, Natalie. So it's all good. Your taxi will come and get you, and of course take you back as well. We'll try and do it early this time, and we can't do it any time, right? Because any time, as you well know, could go into midnight and past midnight. Let me turn my light on for the sake of it. I think you can see me a bit better. Yay, Lisa, welcome. Dr. Lisa's what I call you, but don't scream at me, Lisa. Don't be cringing. You are the genius about menopause, healthy eating, holistic health, and all that stuff. Of course, super author as well. I will sing Lisa's praises. And she's like, yeah, carry on, Nini. I'll do that. Worknesh, I see you. Oh, no, I can't not mention Lisa. Lisa, I almost forgot. I didn't almost forget. Our show tonight, our Metamorphosis room tonight. So that's at 10 o'clock my time. So do join us. Lisa's going to be sharing her genius on another brilliant topic. Anyway, what's the topic? Oh, I don't know. I've forgotten what the topic is. I set the event up 2 days ago. I'll tell you what it is. How's that? Because I can't not tell you. No. Right. We're talking about something, finding joy at work, something to that effect, right? Because we've got Felipe as our guest speaker today. And of course, I'm sure you all know Felipe. The man is a genius. So do join us. Let's talk about how you find your voice and your joy by achieving your goals in midlife, achieving your goals in menopause. That's what we're talking about. If you're not in menopause, I'm sure most women are getting there. Lisa will tell me most men are too. They're getting into male menopause. So how to achieve your goals, straight talking. Felipe never fluffs things up, right? He also talks very honestly and practically about how we can truly achieve our goals at work. So do join us. It definitely applies to everyone. Right, Lisa, I've done my bit, and I'm working on a plan for that day when I do go to London. I think we've got a show on the Tuesday, the 17th, I think. Yeah, no, it's not I think. I know we've got a show on the 17th. Yeah, but I'm trying to work out, can I hand over the rails to you, Lisa? That way you can press the buttons while I'm driving to London. That's an option, Lisa. That's the option I'm thinking of, Lisa. We might have to do a couple of practice runs so that you know what to expect, and you know how it's going to work. That's my thinking. Well, tonight, let's talk, and then let's work it out, and then we'll make sure we've got a plan in place. But the show will go on, my friends. The show will go on for sure. So I am doing what any shouldn't do, right? I'm doing what I shouldn't do, which is faff around with other tabs, inviting people, pressing buttons. Joseph, welcome. I see you. I'm glad you're here. Thank you for joining us. You've made my day by being here. So Neka, is that how you pronounce your name? I have no idea. One day I'll learn. Please do come and tell me how to pronounce your name. Lisa tells me what I know now, which is I remember achieving your goals, even when you don't feel like it, with amazing Felipe. That's exactly it. Yeah, hopefully. And I know we're going to learn a lot from him. It's always fun with Felipe. And I say he is Mr. Practical, Mr. Honest, Mr. Informative. What he doesn't know about business, what he doesn't know about the workplace that involves people, is not worth knowing. He knows literally HR, management, leadership, motivation, productivity, of course, achieving your goals, communication. He knows everything about people at work. That's why I give the man all the credit in the world. Natalie, thanks for the recognition through my name. Though my name was not mentioned when I joined. No, we can't mention your name until we see you, my friend. Until we see you, Joseph. There's one me, right? And in these events, I'm lucky to have Natalie on the comments. And I say, apart from Natalie, I've got buttons to press. I've got things to look at. I'm sending invites as we speak. I'm doing a lot of different things. So it can take me a while to get to everyone. But I do try. I do make it in a habit of making a big effort. Welcome to Candy. I don't know whether John is your first name, so hopefully I haven't destroyed your name too much, right? So Neka says, yeah, thank you. So got to pronounce the pronunciation right. That cheers me up. Thank you so much. Lisa, you're welcome. Of course, Lisa's welcome. Lisa is my superstar friend. Lisa is my, yes. Leave me and Lisa alone. Lisa is, she's my one and only, my favorite Lisa in the world. My one and only Lisa, and leave us alone. We've been friends forever, so it should carry on. Michelle, I see you on YouTube. I'll take that. Please stay there. Build up my watch hours. If more of you want to go and join the show from YouTube, please feel free. If you want the link to join the stage, then again, let me know. I'll happily share the link with you. If you want to join this conversation, then by all means, I would love to hear your thoughts. Now, this is a show where I want to hear from more Africans, but I actually live. I imagine my co-host Hebron's going to get here soon enough. But I don't panic, and I guess I know what I want to talk about. I know what I want to get across. I know the arguments I want to have, either with me or with you. Take your pick, and I would love you to come on the stage and share with us for sure. But in the absence in these live events, I always tell my friends, be ready to talk for the whole 90 minutes if you have to. If no one comes up, then what can you do, right? I must entertain you, my friends. I must entertain, inform, and have the conversation that you're having in your head, right? So here's that's on now. Okay, just a share button. Okay. All right. So now, for those who don't know me, for those who do know me, let me remind you, I am Eni Osung, and I am on a mission to make big ideas famous. So before I came on this call just now, the reason I'm late, in case anyone thinks, Eni, you're late. I'm like, yeah, I'm late. The reason I'm late is because I was talking to Henry Stevenson. You don't know who he is? Now, he's a cancer doctor and is on a mission to tell the world the truth. He wants to change what he calls our no truth world, and the message that we give to our kids that life is meaningless. I must say, I'm intrigued by his conversation. I'm intrigued by his perspective. I'm intrigued by what he's really talking about. I'm intrigued by the impact he wants to have an impact on the world. He wants us to see the truth, but he doesn't want they've created an organization where they don't come and share the truth, which is rather strange. But so I'm debating in my head what I'm going to do, what any does best, which is bring this conversation to the world. I said the idea of leading the conversation is kind of, I can see the challenges basically of me leading a conversation about someone else's topic. So usually I'll bring the people who have the genius, the leaders of this world, Paulettes of this world, to the world. I want to make them famous. I want everyone to know who my friends are, what the big ideas are, and what they do, and how they help. So I do have clients across the world, and so we'll do two things really. We'll do these events that bring superstars to the world, and also we do book publishing and we'll do everything to get your book written, packaged for me to publish, for me to do the layout and then publish on Amazon and wherever else you want your book. You're on your book on Ingram, then on Barnes and Noble and so on. Again, we do all of that. Of course, what makes us different, I will say, is the fact that we have the full process. So we'll help you write your book, publish your book, sell your book, even launch your book. That way you have readers and you're making money from the moment we launch your book. Meanwhile, we'll build a community around you. We'll build your community of friends, people who know you, like you, trust you, and want to buy your book. More than that, they also want to buy your services. So one of my rooms is Book to Business, where I talk about how you can turn your book into a business. Yeah, you don't write a book for nothing. Yes, a book will help people who read your book. But smart people, smart authors would normally have a plan. They have a service that the book almost acts as a business card for. So people read your book. They're like, wow, this person is really good at what they do. I want their help to solve the issue that I have. That's a game any plays every day. So also we'll do the books, we'll do the events, and we'll make, sometimes we'll do marketing for people. I try and do less of that these days, but I still find myself doing posts, social media posts, which is, of course we can do all the other things that marketers do, create websites and so on. But it's a book and the events I'm really interested in. Why Africa Business Talks? My friends, I am British, but I'm Nigerian at heart. I grew up in Nigeria. And it strikes me that many of the things I suffered, that's the word I want to use, suffered as a child, as a young person in Nigeria, they're still going on today. That's crazy. That is just balmy. That's ludicrous. And I think it's for us to change those issues. It's for us to change our reality, for us to create a society that works for us. And that's why I did this room. Essentially, I did it to have those conversations, with my African brothers and sisters. Let's talk about our reality in Africa. How can we change things? What can we do to make our lives better? That's what I talk about in these rooms. Of course, half the time I will come with something, a topic that I guess jars my brain, something that annoys me, something I think we need to work on, something that we need to talk about and then begin to change, because I think change is within all of us. But I'll come back to that in good time. I have got a co-host, Pastor Hebron. Hopefully he will join us. If he can't join us, like I say, I will be heartbroken, but I will survive. And you're going to have fun anyway being here. We're going to talk about the things that really matter to us. Today's topic is one, it's one that I guess I was forced into. I know what I just said. Normally I have my schedule. I know what I plan to talk about. I know what I think I'm going to talk about next event, for example. And I was doing a series of pie in the sky thinking. So Africans have pie in the sky ideas that are unrealistic, ideas that won't work, ideas that will hold us back and ultimately maybe even destroy us, right? And then one of my friends said, let's talk about let's talk about this real solution for Africa. And it's like blattering on about the government and blah, blah, blah. The government does this, the government doesn't do that. I guess I want to talk about my perspective today, and I would love to know what you think. I love to know what you really think, right? Because I think in today's topic, the reason I put it in the middle of my pie in the sky thinking series is because I think it's important to discuss it. It's important to talk about the reality of Africa. And so one of those realities is simply that we are very good at blaming the government. We'll talk about the government, our leaders, the president, the government. Yeah. And I think we miss a fact. The fact is that the government don't do anything for us, to us, or about us at all. The government is too big. The government is they're out there. The president doesn't. They have no idea that you're alive. Does it think about your place, your local town, your local village? No, they couldn't care less. Federal governments do what federal governments do. They do the big stuff. And that's just how countries run. Our prime minister in the UK today, Keir Starmer, he doesn't know anything about Cornwall today. He hasn't crossed his mind. He hasn't got any plans for Cornwall. He hasn't done anything for us, against us, or at all. And that's just how countries run. My point is that your president, your government, is not your problem. Your problem is that you don't have local government. Africans need local government that works for them. This is just a fact. And again, this is my point of view. Michelle, welcome, Michelle. And it's evolving. And it's getting better every day, Michelle, of course. Michelle and I have a show tomorrow where she's gonna come to to entertain us, not amuse me alone, but entertain us, with her knowledge, with her skills. With her knowledge and skills, and that's just one part. She's going to entertain us with who she is, why she does what she does, her funny stories. So do connect with Michelle Ramos, and do join us tomorrow. Good afternoon, Michelle 2. Now, Michelle B is what I call her, Michelle 2, honestly. I'll leave that to you. It's been so much fun, Michelle. Michelle 1. And then you two, you carry on. Who did I see? Henry, I see you on stage. I see you here. I'll bring you on stage. How you doing, Henry? Henry, you have to unmute. Are you muted? No.
Hi, Henry.
I can't hear you, Henry. I don't know why I can't hear you. Yeah, I can hear you now. Superb. I'm all right. I'm glad to have you here, my friend. Glad to have you here because you understand the conversation I want to have today. So many people in the audience will be like, local government, what the hell are you talking about, any? We've got one. But I'm going to talk about our model here in the UK and why I think that is the model we must have in Africa. And of course, I'm well aware that there are different models. Maybe my real beef is that Africans are trying to reinvent the wheel when it comes to local government. We know what works. The world does more local government everywhere, apart from in African countries. We do it well everywhere. Everywhere that's thriving has local government. The US has a federal government. Now, people are not expecting Trump to do stuff for them. They expect their state to do stuff for them, and then their local region to do more stuff for them. I'll come to that in a second. Henry, hopefully you got a few thoughts on this on this topic, for what local governments could look like. Maybe from what you've seen, because I know of course, you live in Africa. You live in Uganda, I think, Henry, right?
Correct. Yes, I'm in Uganda.
So you've seen a version of so you've seen more than one version of local government in Uganda, I'm sure. And so I'd love
Absolutely.
to know how what you've seen fits with what I think we need. Of course, we can discuss the complexities that make local government an issue in Africa. I say no, I get it, but still, I'm not going to waver. We still need a local government that works. If it's not the one we have in the UK, then what is it? Is the question I'm asking you, my friends in the audience. What's the model we need? Michael, if you're here, Michael Bakwesegha, if you're here, I'm going to come find you, Michael. This was his topic. Until yesterday, he said, "Oh, I have to work." I'm saying, I'm not going to change the topic now. So we're going to have the conversation regardless. Coming back to Henry very quickly, Henry and I are planning a conversation around East Africa. As you know, so Henry's got a doctor friend who has ideas. So we just got to meet, plan the event, and then come and do the event. Michelle, you're about to leave. So Angelina has therapy and a team meeting. You do you. I'm glad you're here. And keep your YouTube on, though, Michelle. Okay. Michelle's in a slice of heavens. No, so I'm a slice out of the heavens, Michelle. Okay, all right, Michelle. We'll find out tomorrow. Once we do our show, that people will find out that you really are a slice out of heaven. I'll give you that. Okay, Natalie Thomas. Oh, everything. Is everything okay? Yourself, of course it is. Natalie Thomas. She lives a dream. Oh, thanks needed. Yes, she's my purpose. I know she is. Again, we'll talk about this all tomorrow, for sure. Michael, you can't be complaining. You can't complain about government. You can't. You're not here to talk about it, Michael. You are the guest speaker. They're just not being trusted to start and finish development projects. They will do corruption very well and nothing else. Ain't that the truth, right? Ain't that the truth? And then Michael is predicting what I'm going to say, Henry. So he's trying to cover every base there. If you see this message about how you can't trust local governments, they don't finish stuff, and corruption very well, and that's what we do very well. And then he goes on to say that's why we're not paying taxes. See, Michael, you know the truth. You know the truth, right? You know the truth. I'm upset you're not here to argue. I'm not really upset. I'll get over it. Henry's here, so me and Henry are friends, so we can talk all day.
Michael should be on stage, I think.
It should be. It really should be. It says it's at work. And what can you say to a man who's at work? What can I say? Say no, but let's share some truths, Henry, and then let's see how far we go. So more will join us. I've got more friends with the link. If you want the link to join and come and air your views, my friend, like Henry, you don't need your camera to be on. When you come in the studio, you have to have your camera on before you come in the studio. But when you get in the studio, you can turn your camera off. As long as we hear your thoughts. So Henry, as you are my de facto co-host, tell them who you are if you don't mind.
Thank you, Annie. So my name is Henry, originally from Ghana. I've been in Uganda for the last 5 years or so. I'm into business development, digital marketing, and a whole host of other stuff. So that's me in a nutshell. I'm curious about what Michael said there. That's why we are not paying taxes. Do you know? Does that mean that you're not paying taxes because of poor service delivery, or you're getting poor service delivery because you're not paying taxes? Because those things are kind of it's good to know the mindset, because I think that this whole kind of paying taxes has been a big debate for a while. Uganda, certainly, when I first started coming here many years ago, nobody really understood anything about taxes. Like no one paid anything. You just kind of everything was just very informal. And
Mm.
then they over the years they've been tightening up. And actually, just today, I found out from someone that they copied the tax regime of Ghana into Uganda. So over the last few years, it's been getting really tight,
Mm.
and everything is taxed. We got VAT, we got income tax, everything.
Mm.
And the truth of the matter is that a lot of this comes down to accountability.
Mm.
Corruption is mentioned a lot. It's very easy to use that word corruption. Corruption is everywhere, including in the UK. It's just that we
Yep.
might not notice it as much. But when it comes to things like tenders, bids for services for the local government, corruption is rife, which would probably explain why you get some roads that are never fully completed, and there's always problems here and there. So we have to kind of weigh that up. Um, you know, corruption is. Sorry, say that again, Annie.
I'm on mute. I didn't say anything. I'm on mute.
Oh, okay.
Carry on, please. Carry on.
Yeah, it's, for example, you might find that here we call them they call them cow, which is chief administrative officer. So he'd be like the CEO of the local government. You might find him implicated in corruption, but you might also find out that actually he was forced to do it or directed to do it from orders from above. So some of it is just it's not really within our understanding. Um,
Feels like we lost you for a second, Henry. I don't know what. Suddenly we lost your sound for a second.
I'm hearing
Okay. Go. You're back again.
okay,
Talk to
I'm
us.
hearing two different recordings. Is it just me?
Yeah. Have you got another tab of the event open, like LinkedIn or something like that? You LinkedIn, YouTube, something like that. Have you got another
Possibly
the
a
event?
LinkedIn
Yeah.
tab,
If
yeah.
you have, close that tab. Otherwise, you hear yourself twice over. And then and of course
Right,
that
okay.
tab is
Can you hear me
delayed.
okay?
Yeah, I can hear you okay now. Perfect. Go on. So you got as far as corruption is everywhere. So I'm liking your comments,
Yeah,
Michael. Why are
so
you not?
you know,
Go on, Henry.
mhm. um, so basically, what I'm really trying to say here is that we do a lot of shouting. There's a lot of kind of complaining, but
Mm,
at the end of the day, if you're not paying taxes, if you're not paying anything towards service delivery in your local area, if you're not contributing, if you're not part of the debate, if you're not being active in, for example, electing the right officials,
mm.
um, it's just a lot of hot air, to be quite honest. That's my personal opinion of it. Um, and as there's a lot, even in my family, and there's a lot of people I know. We love to get involved in the politics. Obviously, it's 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 a part of life, and we love to talk about things and have debates and all that sort of stuff. But um, most of the time we're just talking. We're not actually actively trying to make a difference. And especially us, in the diaspora, people in the UK and the US. Those that don't really, come over, they don't do anything really in their countries apart from making a lot of noise. We need to have a serious conversation about that. That's my opinion.
Say this. I'm talking and look now on mute. Right, Henry. Everything you say Truly, I appreciate you, and because I love you really, because you're telling the truth. This is what this event is for. So I'm going to give Michael the link to come to the studio. I don't know why he said it wasn't. No, but come in the studio. Come and talk to us, Michael. But Henry, everything you say, I agree with. This is what I'm trying to. This is what I'm arguing against. I'm probably going to delve more into on every point you make. Truly. Natalie says, right, so link for attendees, please. I'm going to put in your DM, Natalie. I'm sure I gave it to you last night. Right, look, I agree. Now, let me start with it now. Let's stop shouting as if we are incapable, because ultimately, change in our continent, change in Africa, African countries, change in Nigeria, change in Uganda, change anywhere, relies on the people. And I agree with you entirely that we should, we can all play a part in getting local government that we want that actually works for us. That's our duty. Stop shouting and stop crying that the government does this or that. If you're not willing to do anything to help, you're not willing to play your part. And again, the two parts you pick on, Henry, the tax thing and the participation thing. I think everyone here has a role to play. We can, you have to play a role. Otherwise, what's the point in you talking? You're just talking for the sake of talking. My granddad was. It wasn't the village chief. I know you mentioned the CAOs, Henry. Chief administration officers. I think that many places in Africa have mayors. Many have governors. Many have local chiefs. That's how I grew up. So my granddad, he was, the chief, the elder in maybe in two villages, and every Sunday he come meet the other, the locals, the people, right? And they would talk about the area and what they're going to do about things in the area. See, I went once. I was lucky to go once as an adult when I went back to Nigeria, and I was shocked to see that there are barely 20 people there. Barely. Where's everyone else? What are they doing? And they wonder why nothing works. I'm saying no. We have to play our part. So if you don't play our part, then don't expect. The other point about taxes, Henry, is so important. How can we expect our local government to do anything without money? This is crazy. This is totally crazy. Joseph, I'm going to send you the link as well, my friend. I'm glad. So I would love to have you, you on stage. Oh, how do I find you? I find you in the comments, Joseph. Okay. So, Henry, Michael, you're on stage.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much, gentlemen, ladies. Henry, nice to meet you. Annie, nice
Thank
to
you.
meet you too. I'm absolutely with regards to your reference to diaspora making a lot of hot air. I kind of quite agree with respect to that. You know, I your argument is clear. Yes, we're not paying taxes. Yes, we are following what's going on the ground as much as we possibly can from where we can. We have relatives there. We do keep in touch with them, and they do tell us, what's going on, etc., etc., and we communicate back and forth. We have all those stories going back, but definitely, in terms of paying taxes, we're not doing it simply because where we are right now, we're already paying taxes, and it's quite a lot. And so we go back to Uganda and now have to pay taxes again. Yeah, some of us will argue about that, but I really do feel that yes, if we do, if we are so into the development of those countries, then yes, if we're doing business there, if we're living there, we should be paying taxes. And if we are affording those, utilizing the system that's there that the government is providing, we should pay taxes. I have I have a big issue though, is that when it comes to services from the government, etc., etc., I think even in the past when we used to pay taxes, you don't see that money coming back. You always see, okay, I'm gonna have to grease the wheels of this person in order for me to get my like for instance, to get my services connected. If I wanted to connect it quickly, there's a time in which they can get it done quickly. There's a time in which they usually get it done, and then there's a time in which they'll take their time, just waiting for you to come up with the money so that you can grease the wheel so that they can come out and do the job. That I think goes on quite a bit. Not necessarily in government, so to speak. I cannot necessarily say that it is the federal government's fault. I cannot necessarily say it's the local government's fault. The problem is that it's everywhere. It's just up and down. It doesn't matter whether you're in the local government, doesn't matter whether you're in federal government, you still have that issue. It's a big problem. And it's demoralizing, really.
Yeah.
And as a result, if you're working really hard to pay, well, why on earth do you have to pay for services that you are rightly, and if you do pay your taxes regularly, that's the kind of question you're going to end up asking yourself over and over again, and to a point where you get tired and say, I'm not doing it anymore. I'd rather save up whatever I've got to save up, and then also join the corrupt system and do whatever I need to get corruptly so that I have it, as opposed to not having it. Yeah. But and I like to know what you think about that, Henry. I mean, you're living there. You're from Ghana, but you've been in Uganda for quite a long time, and you do understand. You live and you work there. You do understand what's going on there. And from
Michael,
your perspective, I do believe,
which country?
I'm originally from Uganda. I'm a Ugandan. I'm originally from Uganda.
Uganda.
Born in Kampala.
Yeah.
Born in Kampala. I am a Musoga, so Busoga area. And I've been living in the United States for about 30 plus years. And I've never gone back.
Okay.
So that gives you a synopsis of where I say that you are absolutely and utterly correct.
Yeah, and you're also correct. Everything you said was exactly what we experience over here, which is kind of why I was like, "Oh, are you from the same place?" Yeah, exactly. So actually, I mean, the example you gave about connecting the service is the exact same one that I was referring to, Annie, when I was last with you guys, when we were talking about doing business and the challenges and so on. Now, in this particular scenario that you're talking about in this country, you're talking about either a national water issue or electricity issue. I'm pretty sure of that.
Plus also internet.
Internet as well. I mean, things
All
have
those
got a lot
services
better
that
there,
you're
but
looking at.
yeah. A lot of those issues have to do with, should we say, what's the right word should I use? Competition, lack of competition. When you're dealing with state-owned or places where there's a monopoly, you're going to encounter that a lot. But if you had, for example, like in the UK, you've got several different electricity providers and water providers and internet providers. Because of the competition there, all of these businesses are trying to do much better to retain their customers. Do you understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you are absolutely on par with respect to that. That
Yeah.
is the solution right there.
Yeah, exactly. So this particular problem is, again, it goes way up to the top in the political side of things, right? These are things which, for us people on the ground, it's like way over our heads. And we can talk about it all day long, but believe you me, it's going to take something more than a demonstration or it's anyway. That's that.
Yeah.
So
Can I interject a bit,
sorry,
Henry? One
go
second.
on.
It's just briefly. So
Mhm.
it's also about who you know. Like
Yes.
for instance, if you know any of the big shots that are up there that are working on those services, right? You can always utilize them or go through them to get your normal services done. And that's typically, and you just pay what you need to pay, and that's it.
Hello,
You know, it's just like
hello.
you don't have to pay more than that or less than that, or just regular payment and get your regular service that you need simply because of who you know.
Hold on, Michael, hold on. Joseph is on stage. Joseph, welcome. I want to give everyone a chance to speak. That way, you don't feel left out. How's that? And then we'll come back to now. Let's have a conversation after that. Joseph, how
Can I
you
just
doing?
say,
Henry, go on.
yeah,
Henry.
what you just mentioned there, Michael, sounds like when we get into corruption, and this is where we then start to have other problems. Um, but yeah, you're absolutely right. That's the only way that sometimes you can actually do get something done, is by having those contacts and using the back channels, or you know, greasing palms. But yeah, we just go around in circles on it. The only other thing I just wanted to just say was, we mentioned about the tax thing. Obviously, you're living in the US and you pay taxes there and so on. You don't necessarily pay taxes here, but if you own a property or you own a car or you have a business, there are taxes attached to all of that. And a lot of us, when we're in the diaspora, we tend to ignore all of those ones as well. That's it.
So no, but we pay them, Henry. Look, I'll come back to this in a second. Let's hear from Joseph and then Paulette, and then I'll come back to then. Maybe I'll set the context for the conversation. You two are saying the things I wanted to talk about.
Hello.
And some people in the comments are saying this, they're making amazing comments as well. So we'll come back to that in a second. Joseph, please unmute. How are you doing? Talk to us. What do you do? Who are you?
Hello.
How are you doing?
Hello, everybody. Thanks for accepting me to come to the stage. I really appreciate the opportunity. Are you there?
We
Hello.
Yeah.
hear you, my friend. We hear you. We hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Thanks very much. Now, according to me, my name is Joseph Adedeji. According to my name, my name is Joseph, and I'm a professional career counselor and a career coach as well. Can also know me. I also do resume for a living. I write resume to help job seekers and professionals in order to land their dream job. Now, according to the topic on ground, we are wasting much of time here. You see, corruption of a thing is uh, it's an issue that we need to address, that we need to highlight on Africa. Let me say on Africa. Now, when you say corruption, corruption can really undetermined because it's always hinder the progress of making of looking forward to achieve success. Now, if you want to achieve something and we have many leaders that are so corrupt, you will see that such kind of a thing will not come at the right time that we need. Now, the issue that you addressed in the first place that you said what we need in Africa is local government. I don't dispute the fact, but at the same time, this leader that we want to choose as our local government chairman or leaders, they are also corrupt. They are even corrupted already. So we cannot rely on them. The only thing we could do is to just be praying to God because it is only God. I believe it is only God that can make everything better for our country. For instance, I am from Nigeria. It's even very, very much. It's very, very common here. Our leaders are so corrupt. So they don't do things on our behalf. And whereas we voted for them to help us.
It's quite
Now,
frustrating. So I'm sitting there with my ears and thinking it's not very clear.
hello? Yeah, are you with me? Hello?
Yes, go ahead,
I hope you
Joseph.
can
Go
hear
ahead.
me.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you so much. So, the issue of corruption, we need to highlight this issue because it creates awareness and can always motivate change. What specific changes we need to do? There are some things. There are a lot of things that we need to do in order to eradicate corruption in our society. And this kind of things that we need to do, it's even unrealistic to many of us. Many of us don't know it. We don't know it. So we need to continue praying to God. God should come and intervene in the matter of our society. So I think that's the only thing I could see for now. I'm still here. If I still have something to tell, I will raise my hand. Thank you.
No, thank you so much for coming on stage. And I say I had to drop off for a second, because my computer froze. If I do drop off, my friends, don't stop talking, right? I don't mind who. Now, Pastor Hebron's here, so he's my co-host. So he will tend to take over the conversation and lead the conversation. Paulette, I'm glad you're here as well. Hopefully add to our conversation. Now, we'll come back to some of your points, Joseph, for sure. Look, Henry mentioned, I know it was Michael, a cyclical argument, right? Let's not have a cyclical. Let's not go around in circles. Corruption is a thing for sure, and there's a reason why corruption happens at best of times. Well, now let's acknowledge what those reasons are, and then let's find a way around them. Is what I'll say. But we'll go an hour and a half to talk about this, so we'll talk about it. Now hopefully we'll find some answers. Pastor Hebron, how are you doing? Can you hear me?
Well, can you hear me?
Perfectly.
Yeah,
Please,
sure, I can hear you.
Excellent. Tell our friends who you are, what you do, and that would at least they know how you help, my friend.
Sure. So my name is Hebron, and I'm based in Kenya, in a place called Voi. Well, I'm so excited to be here this day, and I do things, but for purposes of this meeting, this year one of my goal is to help people solve disputes, and especially disputes related to families and commercial disputes. And because I'm an expert of helping people to solve disputes out of court, and also this year, also one of my goals is to help people to create wealth in the kingdom way. I say in the kingdom way because I'm a believer, I'm a pastor, and I lead pastors around here. Well, another thing about me is that I have written 2 ebooks. They are in Amazon, and one of the book is called Who Am I? And it's talk about you are one of the things I talk about that book is that you are created in the image of God, and you can create your own environment, you can create your own economy, and that's the book all around about that, because when God was creating man, he was creating another creator. You might not create the world the way God created, but you have an ability to create the good that you desire around you. And then the second book is talking about you're not a mistake. You are born here with a purpose. It does not matter how you're born. It does not matter where you're born, but you have a purpose. And basically, that is who I am. Concerning the topic, unfortunately, I've not had. I came late. I did not hear some of the comments that those who have spoken before me. But I just want to say something. But I when I came in, I think I had somebody talking about the issue of taxes, the issue of corruption. Now, I think my take is this. Let's agree that it is true that there's a lot of corruption. But again, there is a saying in our place which says, in Swahili, but I translate in English. It says that when one fish in a basket is spoiled, we normally say that all the fish are spoiled. But that is a saying. That might not be true, because I normally say that if one fish is spoiled, that does not mean all the fish are spoiled. What am I trying to say here? I'm trying to say here that as much as we're talking about corruption, the universe is waiting for somebody who can make a change, who can bring a change. And I think one of the reasons what we are discussing here is that how do we become a change in our community, in our society? And when I shared about two things about taxes, about talking about taxes and also the issue of corruption. So the question I think I need to ask myself is, and when I started coming to these meetings, I've been asking myself, what is my contribution in the society that I'm living? I may use an example in the Bible. The Bible says when Jesus was asked, should we pay tithe? Should we pay taxes to Caesar? Remember, Jesus was in a period, came in a period where the Roman Empire were the one leading, and so the Israelites were under captivity, and they knew that Jesus had come to take them out of captivity from the Roman Empire. And they tempted Jesus and asked him a question: should we pay tribute, or should we pay taxes to Caesar? And his answer was so simple. And he asked them, give me the inscription of the coin. And they asked him, and Jesus asked the people, what is the image on the inscription? They said the image is the Caesar's. And he said, give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and give to God what belongs to God. What does it mean? What does it imply in our context, in our discussion today? I believe that it does not matter how to me, it does not matter how the taxes are used by the government, but it is my duty to give the tax the way the government wants. However, I think some of the things, or maybe I'll also talk about the mindset. Because we give tithe, we wait for the government to do the roads, we get the government to do the development, and because of corruption, they don't do it. But again, how long do I wait for the government to do the development? How long will I wait for the government to do something? What is my input in the society? So that's what I'm trying to ask myself that question, because I believe everyone came here in this earth with a solution, and you have a solution, and you have something to give to the community. It might look very small, it may look very minute, but there is a solution you are carrying to your community. There is a solution you are carrying to your country. It may look very small, may look very insignificant, but there is a solution, because we came here to this earth with solutions. And I think, okay, like the way I'm going to answer this discussion, that rise up and bring solution. Let us stop this game of blaming the politicians. Let's stop the game of blaming the government. Yes, the government might have failed, but what about you? What about you? So I think I'm just going to pause that for now, asking ourselves, yes, my president has failed. Yes, my governor has failed. But when the universe look at me, am I also, can the universe say that we are proud of this man, that he has not failed, he has given solution to the community? I think that's the thing. That's how I'm going to address this today. Thank you, Annie.
Awesome. Everything you say, I'm totally with you, Mr. Hebron. I really am. Paulette, I see you. I will come to you in a sec, Paulette. I do see you. Look, Hebron, everything you say, again, I agree with. The truth is looking us in the face, right? The solution is us. I agree. And our greatest seat of influence, our greatest power as citizens is local government. Again, I think we all agree on that. Yes, we agree on some technicalities around, and it's not technicalities, issues around corruption and so on and so forth. And it's an issue of funding local government to get to what we really want. And of course, I hear the arguments, the things you missed before you joined Hebron is that question around how can local government do something without money, without funding? And then when they don't do, we say it's their fault. But we're not willing to pay. No, we're not willing to pay our taxes. Now, Hebron, I'm with you. Look, I got a friend who said to me the other day, Africans never have to pay tax ever. I'm like, what are you talking about? Because they shouldn't have to. We have enough resources to last a lifetime. We should be like Dubai, where the government pays us to live. I'm like, wouldn't that be nice? That's not how it works. And then we can have the whole argument around our debts to the IMF, which we've never paid off, which we can never pay. I'm saying let's begin to work on taxes. We don't pay tax, don't expect. And like Michael, I remember your comment earlier. Your dad paying tax and his friends laughing at him, saying, "Only you pay tax, right?" Only you pay that tax. No one else does. I've lost my comments on my StreamYard, so. But I remember that comment. And as Hebron said, we must pay our tax. We just must. We don't pay our tax. We have no conversation with the government. We have no argument, no expectation. And before I go to Paulette, I want to quickly describe local government in the UK. Those who pay and those who live here know how it works, right? Again, I'm not saying it's the only way. I'm saying it's a way that I know, right? And as Africans, let's stop trying to reinvent the wheel. Every country has local government that works, apart from Africans. What the hell? What are we doing? Right? Here's what. See, local governments in the UK, they're called councils. Every area has one. I don't rely on the Prime Minister for anything. Nothing they do affects me really, right? It's a local government that does everything. They manage the roads, they build the roads, fix the roads, they manage our utilities. Literally water, energy. In Africa, electric has always been a problem. And because we have this thing about doing it on a central level. It's not even central. NEPA, it's electric. They're the ones that I've always had a problem with. So and saying that who deals with our rubbish? Who deals with our garbage in Africa? Local government's meant to deal with all of that. They manage crime. They manage schools. They are the ones who, when things need doing, local governments are the ones we go to, and they do it. Right. There's many. I'm sure there's more complexities, but there's a head of council. There's the whole. What do we call them? Civil servants at local level, right? They all get paid. They're all in decent jobs. Do you know why they're in decent jobs, Hebron? We pay them, called tax. We pay income tax at the top, right? That goes somewhere. Who knows where it goes, right? We pay green energy taxes. We pay council tax to our local government, and that's huge. I think we pay two grand a month here. I'm sure we pay more. My wife would tell you, it's a robbery. But literally, we pay tax to fund local government to do stuff, right? This is a reality. But Africans seem to think we've got this funky model of local government where the state does not work. The local area often doesn't get money because central government are corrupt. Yeah, okay, blah, blah, blah. They're corrupt, right? But then they're not now. And even when I saw in the comments earlier, which is the right argument that we should be having, there's a conversation around what we call decentralization and devolution, where we give power to local areas, right? Devolution is you give power to local areas to manage the area. You've got resources, you can use it to help the area, right? In Africa, we talk about these things, but we'll never actually do them. Devolution it's a myth. So in the state I grew up in, the central government's meant to give them income now from the money that the government raises as a whole, right? It's sharing like the 50. How many states in Nigeria? 52 states, something like that, right? The government's meant to divvy up the money for each state to do what it needs to do, but they won't. They can't. They don't, because they say you're not paying tax. Why we're not paying tax, my friends? I can tell you quite easily. Henry, Michael, you feel free to jump in and tell me all about why the realities that you see, right? There's not enough decent jobs for people to earn enough to pay tax. That's the African mentality. It's ridiculous. It's crazy. If you earn a penny, you should be paying tax. My granddad was a rich man. He went to the hospital. He had his money under his bed. I'm like, Granddad, what the hell are you doing? Why are you playing that? I don't trust the banks. And I'm like, you're wrong. You're just wrong. You're wrong. And don't know. I'll tell you now. He became minister of the country for health. A very rich man, but he didn't believe in paying taxes. That's crazy, right? We can't carry on this way. I know the conflict about if you have a government that's one party, and then you have the state government that's a state where people vote for a different party. So now you got this weird competition with the government. So the central government says, the federal government says, we don't want them to look good down there because they might get famous and popular. So we're not going to give them any money. And then local government's thinking, when we do good stuff, we thank us. And the people are like, we don't know who to thank. Is it central government? Is it you? We don't know. So those two are always at war. I get it. But look, the only way to change anything is by us rising, as you said, Hebron. It's by us taking on our local government and saying, right, we must work. If you don't, without the local government working, people don't have decent jobs. There's no infrastructure. There's nothing works. This is a circle we're in. This is a problem that we have in Africa. Paulette, and I wonder what your thoughts is about local government here. Of course, we live it every day, right? Talk to us.
Absolutely. I've written pages and I'm not going to read them out, but there are several things that really, to me, make absolute sense. Devolution's a wonderful idea, but it's got to be done on a much grander scale than one individual state decides to pull out. That's not how it's going to operate. So devolution can only work when you get multiple senior people decide to pull away from central government. So the part that Hebron said that really related to me and my mind and my thinking, it all goes back to you as an individual. How do you feel about what you're doing for a job? How do you feel about how you're paying taxes? How do you feel about what you're getting back for those taxes you're paying, if you're paying taxes? The jobs that you're doing, does every person either be a VA in Africa or a crook? Because that seems to be the general conclusion. We're either a VA or we're a crook. And I don't say that lightly, because I mean it with the most respect, because I understand why you're a crook. You're a crook because you need to put food on the table. And if there isn't a job there for you to do at whatever the educational level you're at, and somebody offers you a position of being a crook at such and such a price, you could look in the mirror and say, look, God, I'm sorry for what I'm doing, but I'm putting food on the table for my children. I don't have any choice. And that's a hell of a dilemma to put any individual in, especially a Christian, because they want to look after their families. But if there's no choice, the dilemma is, do I take anything to put food on my table? I don't know what the answer is. Hebron, I'd love to hear a take on that. The next one I have is that of all the countries I have visited, and I visited many in my day, in Kenya, I saw two sides. I saw Mombasa, the rich, beautiful hotels, and I saw poverty in Kenya like I wouldn't want to talk about and was so shocked by. I've been to the most beautiful side of Antigua and then got into a taxi and said, take me to the other side, the side they don't show, right? And the point is this: Dominican Republic, the same story. Everywhere we've ever traveled, we've always wanted to see every aspect of a country. Every country has fraud. Every country has corrupt people working at senior levels. Every country has dodgy government, dodgy people that are teaching people to steal. Every country has a problem. That is that human beings are willing to do pretty much anything for money. And until we get to the stage where we can teach and educate and tell people, this is wrong. This is not what we are. This is not who we want to be. This is not what we want to be known for. We want to be known for being the most amazing electricians, the most amazing innovators of X, Y, and Z, not crooks. We don't want to be known as the corrupt. Corruption starts at the top and it filters down. So why would you say to the man on the street, hey, you that's working in the call center stealing off old ladies, that's wrong? And he says, yeah, I know, but you know what? The guy at the top's just as bad. So you know who's wrong? Who's wrong? So we need leadership that is not corrupt. You need leadership and examples of exemplary working. So you need people, and there are people. I've read extensively about amazing people who are doing great things to educate people, to get people to the stage where they are very employable, very well educated, very, and do you know what the first thing they do is they get on a plane and they go somewhere else, right? What we need to do is get them on a plane, staying with their families, staying with the people that want to live. But you know, wherever they go to, wherever they fly to, doctors, nurses, be it whatever, they're paying taxes somewhere. So the system says wherever they go, if they're legal, they're paying taxes. So the answer is, why not just stay home and pay taxes? The reason they won't do it any is simple. They see corruption all the way up the ladder. And until you change, and I am talking about something that sounds like an uprising, and maybe I am, but you cannot start implementing local councils and saying, look, we've got a nice local council here. It's all working really nice in this state. And everyone going, what's going on over there then? Well, I want to live like that. Then you're going to have the people at the top going, we're not having that. We're not having you doing that. So the answer is you have to start. You can't have a go at the man on the street for being fraudulent and a crook when they only see that from above. So when they look in the mirror or when they sit in church and they are saying, I apologize for my sins, God, because I'm only doing it to feed my family. Can you blame them? Just think about that for a minute. People need to look after their families. If it's no job or a corrupt job or a very low paid VA job, what do they do? So if there are jobs available to these people, then why are they not staying? And if they are staying, why are they not paying taxes? Because they think all the money just goes upwards to the corrupt people and doesn't get spread out amongst those that need it. It's almost like the churches that there are. The churches could actually take the lead here. The churches could become the local councils. The churches could be where you pay your tithes to, and the churches could look after the people and those that can't afford and haven't got. And that way you could wipe out corruption, because the churches would say, where are you getting your money from? where are you working? And they go, oh, I work at the call center that phones the old grannies up and steals their money. And you go, well, we don't want you to do that. We don't want you to do that. There has to be some middle ground.
Yes.
That's my opinion.
Thank you so much. Again, I'll come back to you about our local authorities and how they work. I know Pastor Hebron is dying to answer the churches. What's your take, my friend? What can the church do, and how do we square the circle of being religious with still being corrupt? I think Paulette has a point. Corruption is at every level. This is what I realized in Nigeria. It's at every level. My granddad was, I'm saying he was minister of the country for health. He was a global doctor. Yet he didn't see the need to pay tax. And if he could get away with anything, he would. And to have what he wanted down the road, for anyone to do anything, you have to pay everyone. The police, the chief. I'm saying, the governor. I'm saying literally, corruption is our brothers, our sisters, our dads who are doing all of it. So how do we change this, Hebron? Look, give me your take on what God's view, of this corruption looks like.
Yeah. I think Paulette has said something which is very profound, and she talked about the issue of educating our people, and I just want to agree with her, because one of the things I think which I have started studying for the past 3 years, I've been studying about. There's some things you have said. I'm coming from Kenya, and I understand what you're saying. I've been living in Mombasa, and then I left Mombasa, and then I came to this town where I am now. And I think one of the greatest thing which has really, put most Africans, especially in Kenya now, poor, is religion. Now, religion has taught us to depend. The people who introduced religion in Kenya, most of them they were spies from the colonial masters. So they came with this. Yeah, they were introducing us to God, but at the same time they were introducing us to an ideology whereby we work in our religion and education. Now we were taught to get educated so that we can get white collar jobs. We used to call them white collar jobs. Why they are white collar jobs? Because they are being given by the colonists. But there was no day that we were taught on how to create products. For example, we are not told how to create things, how to create solutions, how to come up with solutions. So, and because of that mentality, that's what, again, I agree with you that we need to relearn, we need to teach our people how to rewire their mindset, because our mindset is such a way that we are taught that when you are educated, you get a better job and you get a better earning. And now most people are educated. They have degrees, they have diplomas, they have all these degrees, but they are not jobs. So you find somebody, maybe they have gone to universities, they've gone to colleges, they are educated, but they cannot do any other job because they are waiting for that job which they trained for. And in that way now, because they become at some point now, they become frustrated, and then now they enter where Paulette said that they now get any other job regardless, so that they can put food on the table. But again, it starts whereby now we were not educated to produce, to get solution. Because, for example, where I am seated now, and for about 2 to 3 years now, the local people, we have mining, we have a lot of mining here where I'm seated. But the local people, until I think 2 to 3 years ago, they did not believe that they can do mining. They can do mining by their own. And there is a lot of mining here. But the people who do mining or used to do mining here are people from outside our community or outside our county or outside where I am. Why? Because they had a belief that they are not able to do that. And I think one thing I want to say that when I talk about now Christian religion is that we need now again to start teaching our people. For example, today I was talking to somebody, and I learned that we in most of especially Christians now churches, they disassociate themselves with the government, with what the government is doing, because they have they have kind of labeled the government as evil, and so they don't care. Now we are not in places where we can make policies, where we can influence even the governance of the area, of the local area. We are talking about now local governments. And most of the Christians, most of the churches, most of the pastors, they don't have any influence. They don't have any influence on the policies when it comes to policy making. When we come to the issues of running the local government, most of us Christians, we think that is what can we call it? We call it it's not the right job. It's not our work. It's not our job. There, because now we don't have influence, or we don't know how to come in. Therefore, that's why corruption is there. Because I believe if the church begin to understand that they are here for governance, they are here, they can influence even governments. Because in Kenya, for example, in Kenya, we say that we are almost 85% Christians. In the population is 85% Christians. And now if the 85% Christians in Kenya and there is corruption, that means these Christians, they are not taught on how to be to govern in the righteous way, in the right way, because now if we are at 85%, therefore Kenya should be almost 15% corrupt or zero corruption. But again, I go back again to say that we really need to start teaching our people. And I thank God because I've started doing some teaching, because in where I am now, I have a ministry whereby I lead some about 60 pastors now who have churches, and we have started discussing. We have started a discussion on how do we bring our influence in the local government, in the governments, because we cannot disassociate ourselves from the governance. Because if we disassociate ourselves from governance, we will keep talking about corruption and we will not bring any solution. So I'm started thinking even next week I'm having a seminar for 3 days seminar, whereby we are gathering pastors and we are gathering leaders. Now one of the things I'm going to talk is about how do we engage ourselves in governance? How do we come in and begin to bring influence? Because if we believe we are righteous, if we believe we can bring righteousness, then why don't we go into these jobs or local government jobs? And I believe if we begin to position ourselves in the government position, then we can change the place. We can change the governments. We can change the narrative, and we will now begin to say that there's no corruption. So I think that is my take, whereby we really need to teach our people. And personally, I have started that initiative. I have started that campaign with a few pastors I have, that have started a campaign of saying that we have to go to governance. We have to make sure that the church and the government is not separate. We have to be involved in policy making. We have to be involved in the running of the local government, because if we are not there, the people will be corrupt. So that is my take, and that is what I'm doing. And that's what I've started doing this year. I'm really passionate to bring change to the where I am. Yes.
Hebron for president is what I say, right? I mean, that's
Me
seriously.
too. Me too. I third it.
Look,
Annie, just one thing. Can I jump in for just one
Yeah.
of
sec, really
course,
quickly, and I'll shut
of
up
course.
the rest.
I'll come to you next, Michael.
Hebron, I I absolutely adore everything you just said, except for one thing. That was the question that you didn't answer, which was this: how do you have a congregation of people who believe they are righteous, who believe they are God fearing, who believe they are living by the Bible, and yet are corrupt, as in they are doing things that you and I both know are wrong? How do we change that ideal? Because to me, it's an idealism. It's an idealism that's come from wherever, but very way up high. And they've learnt that idealism, and that's that ideology has to change, in my view. So, how do you
Exactly.
change a congregation to understand that?
I think
Yeah,
Hebron mentioned education. Go on, Hebron, please. Feel free.
yeah. I mentioned about education, and number two, we have because as we educate people, again, we have to become an example. We have to become a role model for them. We have to model. We have to be an example for them. For example, now I understand what you're talking about because this is an ideology. And it's really, for you to change an ideology, you have to bring a new ideology. You have to bring, because you cannot just remove an ideology without bringing a new ideology. Secondly, you have to bring a role model. So what I'm doing what I'm doing is that I am teaching myself to become that role model, so that now when I teach people, I'm not just teaching. It's just telling them, now you can follow my example, do what I'm doing. I think that's what I can say for now.
No, I say
College.
no. Good on you, my friend. Good on you. Seriously, good on you. Look,
Thank you.
thank you, Hebron. Thank you, Paulette, as well. Look, I like Michelle's comments. I believe our judgment day lies upon us, owning our actions and standing firm in them. And that's what it comes down to in the end. Yes, and that's how you change, and part of how you change the ideology, as you say, Hebron, right? We need to change. We need to become the ones who want to have a better society. I want drains in Africa. I want trains. I really do. Now, why not? Why don't we have these things? Because we don't want to pay for them. We choose to live as if, all the things we mentioned so far hold us back. But we are the biggest we hold ourselves back even more than anything else. Paulette, what no one said today is colonialism. They love to blame colonialism. It's a white man's fault. Always. It's not true. It's us. Again, as Michelle says, we must be willing to do our best and never and not harm others. That's what we have to do. We have to be one day. I pray, I preach, I beg. I don't know which one. All three, right? One day we'll wake up to ourselves and realize it's in our hands. I wonder what Michael. Of course, I don't leave Michelle's last comment. If it's a criminal act to feed my child, then so be it. Because
Okay.
that's one of our primary responsibilities, right? We must feed our families. We must. Again, I would say it comes down to local government that creates jobs that are sustainable. I'm trying to give you a way in, Michael. I think from what I see, what I've read,
I already have one.
there's a couple of
But go ahead.
countries. Cape Town is probably one of the best run local governments in Africa because it raises 47% of its revenue from central government, and then it raises the rest by itself. Nowhere else can we say that in Africa. Nowhere else. They haven't got enough revenue. Go on, Michael. I give it to you, my friend.
All right. I'm going to start off with something very controversial, and that's tithing. I don't pay tithing.
Tax, or is that you mean to the church?
Church. Yeah, tithing is it's a form of tax to the church. You pay 10% of what you earn and you give it to the church, and they're supposed to use it for something. presumably you can pay whatever amount, but in general, this is understood kind of thing. But just FYI, I don't pay tithing, or I don't do tithing because I believe there's corruption behind it. And that's what goes back to my taxes. This is why I don't pay taxes, because there's corruption behind it. I'm not saying, and I say this only because I am talking about Africa, how I behave when I'm in Africa or with Africans, and I'm just letting you know, full front, full picture. This is how I do it. Here, I pay my taxes in the United States. I'm done with that. But tithing, forget. I'm not gonna do that. I believe the church here is also corrupt. I don't do that. It's just a policy of mine. Hebron indicated 85% Christians, and now I look at that and I say Kenya is 85% Christians. That's a whole lot of Christians. Huge. So that means if they're all paying tithing, what are the coffers like for the ministry? How much are they getting, and what are they doing with it? And for whom? For what? I begin to wonder about that. So I say to myself, well, if you take a look at the results of Kenya and what's going on, I can only assume that not everybody that goes to church, that if 85% pays tithes. I don't know. I'm not so sure. But it's probably much less. I'm not so sure. I have a friend, she's a Christian, she's a Kenyan, she goes to Kenya, she lives there, and she was so adamant to me that she has to pay tax on every tithe. She has to tithe on every little thing that she gets. She tithes. She is a tither. And I'm like, wow, that's incredible. But I've never asked her if she pays her taxes.
Yeah, but pays no tax. But pays no tax.
You know, I don't know. But Hebron has got work to do there. What you if you have a church, you have tithing coming in, your money is going on. You have to be upfront with respect to what you're using the money for, and where it's and how it's being done, and also saying, okay, we're doing this project, we're doing that project, these are the results, etc., etc. Every year, there's got to be something you can say, we got this done, we got that done, we got this done. Man, you do that for me, and I'll be like loving you, and I'll pay you whatever you want. You can ask for whatever you want. Why? Because you're a man of action. You're doing what you say you're doing. You're gonna do, and you'll have. And I believe it. Action. The action is what I will follow.
See, Michael, I think I agree with you. I won't speak for the others. Henry, I'm going to come to you next, by the way. So please be ready. See, when last time I went to Nigeria,
I'm ready.
So the last time I said, literally, I was shocked. Twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day, right? I look at this noise. You're like, what the hell? What's that noise? You know what it was, Michael? It was my African brothers and sisters, the ones with no food, the ones with no money, carrying everything they own to church and give to the church. Their goats, their fruit, everything. And why are you doing that when you've got nothing to live on? What the hell are you doing? And they would say, let's say, I don't know. We've got them to believe that suffer now and you in heaven you'll be great. I don't know what that means. That's religion, right? That's most religions tend to work, especially Christianity. And they do this every day. Every day, they last whatever they have, they go and give to the church. I'm not saying the church is the problem. The church is not the problem. The church is just a clever system that's managed to get people to believe in something, and it gives them what they want, which is hope. Which is, belonging. I'm saying that I'm not a church person, and that's why I don't do church these days. I don't do religion. I think it's do I say it's a false belief? If it helps the people, what can you say? If it's just a believing, and that's how. If it gives them joy in their soul, then I leave them be, right? But I wouldn't do it either, Michael. I don't give I don't go to church these days because I just think it's I don't know what I think it is. It's somewhere in the middle of the conversation. I don't think it's a good place to be. That's
Okay,
what I
so
was.
let me tell you what. I
Go
do
for it.
I do believe in the principles. I do believe in what they say. There was a time that I walked into a church simply because I was just curious. And when I got in there, everything was fine until the priest came on. And then I got these heebie-jeebies and I said, I gotta get out of here. And I got out.
Was it white suits and white shoes? Was that what done it for you?
No, it was a Nigerian. No white shirt, no white shoes, nothing like that. And just
Really? Let me say
simply
this. Let me say this in the car park.
the for me the ambience just changed. I was fine with the singing and the dancing in the beginning, but then he started teaching, and then he started talking and teaching, and that's when I stepped out. I said, "No, I can't deal with it." My body just physically just, there's something wrong here, and I just had to get out. I was in pain, physically, as a result, psychological transfer to physical, and then I said, "This is just ridiculous. Let me get out." And I had to, and I was fine after I got out. And I was like, eh? What was that about?
let's hear from Henry, because I want to hear from Isaac as well, because I can see you, Isaac. I know you're here, but let's hear from Henry. Now come to you, Isaac. I'll put you on stage for now. You fall off, so just keep coming back, and I'll definitely try and find
Thank
a
you.
way to. Henry, it's all yours, my friend. Respond to any part you want to respond to of what you've
Yeah.
heard. So,
Well, first of all, I'm not going to get into the church debate at all. It's far too controversial for me. So please excuse me on that one, Michael. But I can totally understand your point of view in terms of you don't have any confidence in the system, so you don't want to. So you're not buying into the system. That's probably what most people suffer from on this issue. And it all comes down to accountability, I guess, because I mean, even in the UK, we wonder where our tax is going and we question it daily. But at least, for example, I think it's every month or every quarter, maybe. And you'll know we get like a council tax statement, a letter from the every year you get.
every month, Martin, I might one because the bill's so high these days. We get a bill every night. The bill comes every month.
Okay. Okay, is this the one where it breaks down where the money has gone to? For example, to the police and the fire brigade and so on and so
Yep,
forth.
yep,
Yeah.
yep.
So you look at it, but I'm not sure it's going to give you 100% confidence in where your money is going. But at least it makes you feel like that the council is being proactive, for example, or there might be some accountability down the line. So I totally get all of that. Um, Sometimes I look at this and I think that it just might just be a developmental issue because you know the government here in Africa could go a longer way to give some sort of assurance to its citizens. Particularly in those countries that that does have a tax system. It could go much further to do that, but it doesn't for different reasons. And there are some countries, like for example, Nigeria's got oil, doesn't actually need to rely on the tax base because of it. But that's all obviously part of governance and so on. But I think that in time, as we've seen in Uganda with the the tax regulations, being tighter, I think that in time in a lot of Africa, um, that will come. But definitely, you know, tax tax shouldn't just be for the sake of it. Tax should be justified all the time. So that conversation is always going to keep coming up in the future. That's it. That's it from me. Thank
Look,
you.
I think. Look,
Well,
I think
let me step in there.
Oh, go
One
on,
moment, Annie.
go on, Michael.
You gave an example of South Africa being a place where you have one recommendation with respect to
Yes,
what you like
Cape
when you
Town.
saw there, Cape
Yeah.
Town. I believe that there is a country that I recommend we follow in terms of political system and governance,
Tell us,
and
tell us. This why now I was
that's
going to miss you if you
that's
weren't here.
Botswana,
Okay,
and
tell
that's
us.
Botswana. Botswana has a system that is very much in line with the Ubuntu way of thinking. And that system is working out very well for the Botswanans and the people that live there. Talk to, and I'm not going to go any further, but you need to communicate with them, communicate with people that live there, and ask them, how they're doing, how their system is working, do they have corruption, etc., etc. Ask them how it's actually working and doing for them, and what it's doing for them. It's unbelievable. You'd
Can
probably
I
want to
ask?
leave the UK and go and live in Botswana. That's for sure.
Can I ask? Isn't Botswana like one of the only countries, or the only country in Africa that never had a coup?
I think you're absolutely right there. Yes.
So it's a difference. I don't know. I'm not sure that's a governance and the mentality thing that surrounds all of this. And Botswana obviously has his, it has his minerals, it has his gold. Which is, I've spoken to Miss Kim, and she told me that literally every garden has gold in front and back gardens, literally. So people could pick up, they could just pick up gold and go and do there's rules around that. Look, Pastor Hebron, I'm going to bring the conversation back in a couple of, maybe in a month. Let's talk about how we get involved in local government. So I want that.
Sure.
I want that to be. Let's talk about it, because I think something that we can all do. And Michelle says it's a full revolution. Maybe Michelle. Maybe. Maybe it may well come to that, right? I say, Michelle B says, I've stolen vegetables to feed my children. We've all done things to do what we have to do, really. But I think state-sponsored corruption, it's not really down to the fact that the state hasn't got enough money. This is my point today. Now, I'm glad Michael mentioned, another system, the Botswana system. But I'll look into it, Michael. But I love someone in Botswana to come and tell us how it really works. Really, how it works. And I'm sure that there's individuals who are doing great things, who are making it work. Does it work perfectly? I probably wouldn't believe it works perfectly, but someone come and tell me. I don't want to argue my point of view. As Natalie says, the millennials are the most negatively impacted generation in the last 100 years. We're vastly qualified, but many in our ranks are shut out of equitable opportunities by current systems and processes. Back to my point about the revolution. If you want now to have a say, start having a say. Local government is your way forward. So instead, what we do as Africans is create. That's where we do create Hebron. We have big companies who essentially are like our local governments, but they're there for money. They sell water. Some might collect your garbage. I'm saying, but now we need better infrastructure. We need better systems, better societies. As someone Michael mentioned that, I don't know whether it was Henry. We need to know that next year our environment is going to be better than it is today. It must be better. There's more things and more opportunities. I don't know. In England, our money is spent God knows how. Like Henry, you mentioned the statements we get. I don't know. I don't ever look at it anymore. Again, the weirdest thing for me is simply because I live in a part of the country. I live in Cornwall, right? We have the most windmills, the most green energy. And you know what? Our bill never goes down. How does that work? Our bills keep going up. And we're having probably more power cuts than the rest of the country. How can this be? We're being robbed. We know that, but still, we still pay. We still pay. We still pay our money. So Michelle says, downfall began with the separation of church and state. Maybe, but I think no, maybe that's the point of view. And if anyone has a point of view, please pipe up. I'll happily hear your thoughts. But literally, I think the problem is central government have the different priorities. federal government have different priorities to us on the ground level. But and as low and at our ground level, we have our own priorities too, which is creating a society and an environment that we want to live in that helps us prosper, gives us the decent services, gives us decent infrastructure. How you mix those two, I really don't know. They're beyond saying let's build local power, and eventually that will help us rise. I think Paulette has a point around the competition thing. If my state's doing well and your state's not, what are you meant to do? The only thing you can do is migrate. And soon you're gonna have a problem because now my state that was doing well has fewer people paying fewer tax, less tax. Now we're gonna be in trouble. And our federal governments don't want to say the whole country is doing great because there's different parties, different political groups in different areas. It's a problem, but we have to start somewhere, my friends. And as Michelle says, we pay tax. We pay tax. Seriously. So we put county tax, state tax, federal tax. We pay tax. And we won't say how much we earn. Most Africans that I know will go, how much? Because there's millions of what's in their currency. I get it, but you don't know how much we pay. I haven't talked about car tax yet. Road tax. There's many more taxes like not even inheritance tax, capital gains tax, VAT, VAT. They're just taxes everywhere. See, but the thing, here's my point about all these taxes. It's the reason why we can expect. If I didn't pay this, we didn't pay these taxes, we'd expect nothing. And believe you, some of us get nothing that we want anyway, right? But we'll still pay the taxes because it gives us hope, a chance to have something that we might want. Our roads are maintained within reason, and our schools not falling down. Crime is under control within reason. Again, these are subjective things, right? This is what we're paying for. I don't expect to go outside and there's no street lamps. Maybe 3 times a week they'll turn our lights off at night because they want to save money, and they'll tell you that they want to pay more taxes. I'm like, no, no. They're still going to tax us anyway, by the way. There's some blame the global corporations for not paying their fair share of taxes. I'm not sure. I don't know. I struggle with that idea, Natalie. I think, they is it the company's fault or is it the system that doesn't collect taxes? That's what I want to know. Mr. Ayodele, you're here. Please talk to us. I want to give you a chance before you fall off again. How are you doing? How are you doing? You're on mute. Unmute yourself, please. Your microphone is so if you're talking, we can't hear you. So turn your microphone. No. You're mute. Is your earphones affecting your microphone? No, we still can't hear you. I can see you talking, but I can't hear you. So unless you're on mute, we're kind of stuck, right? What do I do? Unmute? Nothing. I can't unmute you. I don't think. No. Hopefully we'll come back. Right, and my friends, okay, let's try again. All right, even telecoms, I think we can expect better when we pay tax, right? We can expect better. Again, so whilst Ayodele sorts himself out, and Michelle, I agree with you. Let's quit making noise. Let's actually start helping each other and ourselves. That's what the conversation really is. Michelle Ramos, yes, it comes down to local government. I think it certainly does. It really does. That's where everything starts. That's where everything middles and finishes, really. We need to understand how to make local governments work. It's a complex picture. Don't get me wrong. We've simplified it today. We need to talk about our rights as individuals, our rights as citizens. America has its Bill of Rights, and that it's the Constitution that they tend to live by. In Nigeria, what do we rely on? in Kenya? What do you rely on? Is there a Bill of Rights? Some might have it. Again, it's a question I'm asking. Henry, Michael, if you know, and if Hebron, if you have the answer to the questions, feel free, right? You know, the people have to have expectations of what is and what they can do, what they can get in return for. Did I hear making noise, Michael? I don't think so. Let's try your delay again. Hopefully his internet will sort itself out. Hopefully.
Well, I don't think there's such a thing as a Bill of Rights in any country in Africa. I mean, I don't think they actually even put it out. It's kind of like they skipped it when they gained independence for obvious reasons.
That's my thought. I said we need this bill of we need some, we need to get promise to the people. Maybe that's part of the answer, Hebron. Education, yes, for sure. But I think if been an expectations are promised to the people would then make the government accountable. I think that word accountability is very important to me. I think it's part of the conversation, really. The local governments at the moment don't do because they're not accountable, and the central government doesn't do, federal government doesn't do because they're not accountable either. When do we tell? Who do we blame? We don't blame either of them, and so they end up we don't know who to blame. That's my personal belief. The federal government will say to you, "Well, it's not our problem. We have a local government down there who are doing nothing." Local government say, "Well, they didn't give us enough money to do what do you want us to do?" Well, now back to our question about tax and so on and so forth. Mr. Hebron, talk to me. What are you thinking? How can we leave this conversation?
Wow, I think this. I think one of the things we have already mentioned that I think we need a conversation on how do we really make the local government work, because as much as you are saying that the expectation, we need to know what are our expectation, because I don't know about another country, but wherever I am, I think most people they don't know what to expect. And sometimes when you don't know what to expect from the local government or what is your right, and then you cannot know how to claim that right, or you cannot know how to really go about asking that right because you don't know. And I think one of the things which we go back again to issue of education, that we need to educate our people to know what things should they expect, and what when they're dealing with the local government, what are some of their rights. So I think again it go back to the issue of education, and so that we can learn. So I think it's good to know, to have another conversation maybe later, that we so that we can discuss some of the things which we need to know how to engage. I think that's my take now for now.
Thank you so much. Look, this is why I love all of you on stage and all of you in the audience as well. Emma, I know you talk about African issues passionately. I watched your video a couple of days ago. So thank you so much for joining us. I did connect with Emma. She does a newsletter. It's a short read, but it's about African issues. So do connect with her for sure. Have I missed anyone? I'm hoping not. Natalie, you should come on stage, Natalie. All these thoughts, right? I think money is not the issue, if you ask me. Money, there's not enough money in the world. Me and Hebron will tell you this every day of the day, every day of the week. Money is not the issue. It's where's the money, where's it going? How we're using it. So that's the truth of it. Mr. Henry, Paulette, Michael. Now I say let's work towards what your final message is in that conversation. Mr. Ayodele, I can see you, I can hear you. Talk to us. The mic is yours. Oh, now you can't hear me. Oh, no. No, it was so close. Say something. Mr. Isaac, say something. I think we can hear you now. But you can't hear me. Right. Okay, that's an internet connection thing. It's Michael, Henry, Paulette. Who has something to say before we go? Go on, Paulette.
It's not very good. All I was going to say is that I think if one country can do it and Botswana can, if you need to have an example, there's one. Cape Town is another. There are examples already out there. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. We just need to work out what they're doing differently. And I believe, and I may be wrong, but I'm fairly confident that it starts with what's going on at C-suite, you know? And if it's going on wrong at the C-suite, the top level, then that filters down. And what's approved up there gets approved down here, because you're only emulating what you're seeing. So if you see fraud, you are fraud. You see corruption, you are corruption. And that doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you somebody who's followed. You've followed the wrong route, but you're followed. What we need to do is, as Hebron has said, is educate, educate, and educate, whether it's through the we've got people in Kenya, for example, who've got degrees, who are driving cabs. I was in a car with one. In fact, he had 2 degrees, our cab driver, but he couldn't get a job. So he was cab driving. And he was an engineer, and he was planning on leaving the country. And I said, that's very sad. And he said, well, not really. If I can't get a job with the skills I've got, earning the money I expected to earn, then I need to go and find a job where I'm wanted and needed. And I was like, okay. Our country, Annie, has got probably about 25,000 criminologists, probably finishing university at the end of this year. We don't need about 5% of them, right? What's the rest going to do? They're going to work in offices. They're going to just find jobs doing whatever. So get the education. If you've got minerals, then educate yourself in mineral mining. If you've got, if you've got something within your capability in your country, then educate yourself so that you are needed, so that your skills are needed right here, right today. And that the best teachers, Hebron, you can get the best teachers in the world. But if everybody looks upwards and sees crime, all they're going to see is crime. So we need to change the mindset and say, we can do better than them, right? Collectively, we can do better. And you shine a light up instead of waiting for the light to come down. And that's the way you change it, because you can't change it up there because they're not listening, But if you get all of your churches, all of your universities, everybody educated to understand that when you come out of college or wherever, when you come to my church, you're going to learn about right. We're going to do it right. And we'll be showing them up there what they're doing wrong. And you know what? They won't like it, because no one, whether you want to blame colonialism or not, nobody likes being shown that they're wrong, right? But if there's enough of you showing within your community, and if 85% of the country is Christian, then that's a large number of people saying, we want to be true to the word of God, right? That taps back any, I'll shut up.
Thank you so much. Mr. Ayodele, I see you. You're here. So please unmute. No, your internet's just not having it today, right? So I like going through my comments, right? Self-advocacy is more important than ever. The US, Canada, and Canadian constitutions are based on the British Magna Carta framework. Neither country won the so-called War of Independence, other than Britain. So yeah, okay, we've done well out of it. Of course, we have. Well, politicians and churches and businesses did well out of it anyway, right? but it is individuals that will change things. There's in a Hebron. I must hats off to you, my friend. Hats off to you. Actually, I'm blown away by the fact that, and I say, we're not just talking. You don't just talk. You actually do. But no, that's why you and I did this room, right? But thank you so much for being the great person you are, Michael, Henry. Anything you want to say before we go?
Oh yeah. From a positive standpoint, I'll follow up with what Paulette said. But right from the start, I'll tell you that Hebron is right with respect to education. Educating people, especially from the ground level, and then as they grow, teaching them about finance and how it's useful and how it's not useful. It's very important to understand that, because nobody's teaching that at all. You learn that as you grow, seeing all the ones that are making their money and saying, oh yeah, so that's how you make your money. Ah, corruption. So that's the way I'm going to do it. And Paulette is right. If I am someone who's corrupt and I've been doing the corruption, and it's profited me, why would I change that? I would not. I'll be like, well, look, you're not making anything, and in this world, this is how it works. And I'm living the way it works in the world, and I'm just fine right now. I'm comfortable. I'm fine. I don't care about anybody else. But I do care about my family, and I do care about all those that, are around me, friends and everything, and I got enough of them. So I'm fine the way I am. I'm not going to change. And yes, it is going to be very comfortable to change somebody's mindset if they're comfortable and they're like, nothing is hurting me. And, the corruption is, yeah, it works for me. It works just fine for me. The system works for them. It's fine for them. They're not going to change, which is fine. But like you said, right from the bottom, a light should be shown at the bottom, because I've never actually thought about this. Light shining from the bottom, going up.
Yeah.
That is a concept that is very uplifting and elevating. Elevate each other. Light each other up from the ground and go up. It's just like you're teaching a child from the very beginning, and as they grow, they get better and better at understanding the concepts and the better concepts of how to live. And by the time they're old enough to have children of their own, the same cycle is going to continue, and things are just going to get better and better and better. Examples: Botswana is an excellent example. Also, Burkina Faso. Right now, Burkina Faso is also an excellent example. So take your pick. Kenya has dropped off my list in terms of examples. Why? Freaking Ruto, man. Oh my God.
I think Kenya is on the up now. By learning to tax its people, I think it's actually doing the right thing for one. I think genuinely, I know you and I argue about this, Michael, all the time. I'm saying, but I think Kenya, by the tax system, is worked out the truth, and they'll benefit from it in the long run. They will.
Very few people are benefiting. Very few people are benefiting from it.
That's now.
Extremely few people.
What's going on
those are the ones that are just going to continue maintaining a system that does not work. And that's why I'm saying you need a better system. It benefits only a few people. You may be doing things right, but then you're doing things right in a finicky way, which will not stand. Even if the rest of the world thinks that you're doing things right.
All right, Michael. Okay, let's try Mr. Ayedele again, if that's all right. Let me try Mr. Ayedele. Let me see what I. You're muted. Your internet sounds stable. Hello,
Good evening.
how are you doing? I can hear you. Perfect.
Yes, I'm very fine. So, nice joining you on this conversation. Though the network has been defeating me, so I couldn't get some of the discussions.
You're a winner, my friend. You persevered. You've done well. You're actually got to hear you in the end. You've done well. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. I can hear some. Someone was talking about the local government the other time. Some of the challenges of the local governments in Africa, because the local government is supposed to be the last hope of the citizen, because the local government is the next to the citizen. But the major challenges is that there's what we call a conflict of interest between the local government and the state governors. Because for example, let's use Nigeria as an example. You find out that the state government want to be controlling the allocations that's supposed to be for the local government. And because there's always been an interest of either the second time agenda of retaining the political career. So they want to use what belongs to the local government to as their own achievement, to use it as their own achievement to bring a development. And why the local government chairman become an handicap. The local government cannot do anything, to the extent that even to pay the salaries of the local government staff, it become a problem. So the local government eventually become a failure. Why the state are using the local government fund to run the project of the state in order to use it to promote their own political agenda. When it comes to the issue of governance, I believe that the Africans still have a long ways to go. And I and Henry, we were somewhere today. We met with a particular professor. I was challenging him that, I'm sorry to use this language, that we have a lot of full professors in Africa, because they use many of them to rig elections for the political orders, why they kept their wisdom instead of using to come together to think about how can we transform Africa with their own ideas. So we still have so many challenges when it comes to the area of development. And another factor is that we don't have a sustainable system. Our system are not yet sustainable. Someone was talking about the route or whatever. You find out that if you, especially in some country where they have where their politics in quote is working. So when one president finishes tenure, whatever any system that he brought on board, the one coming, we make sure that he rubbish that system to implement his own system. And it has been like that on and on, on and on, on and on, which is part of the thing that is affecting the development of Africa. So let me just stop here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I remember now. We're going to meet because we're going to do an event together, right? And then Henry's organizing that for us, right? So thank you so much. I'm glad you're here. Look, I agree with you, everything you say, that the conflict of interest, it's a problem. No, it's not just, I guess, you know as much as I do, it's not just the state and the local, local bodies. It's the federal government with the state, there's a conflict there. And then there's then from everyone down to the local level, there's a problem, right? There's a conflict. And everyone wants to take credit for what's working, as you say. When it's not working, they're like, it's not my problem, it's their problem. They're the ones not doing it. But when it's working, they're like, thank us. It's crazy, right? It's crazy. And Africans, I'm sure, as people, we must see through this. Which name do you use, Isaac or Ayodele?
Pardon?
Which name do you use, Ayodele or Isaac?
I use both names.
Okay, which one's your first name? Because otherwise, I'll have to say both.
Ayodele.
Okay, Ayodele. Okay, right. So it's a huge problem, and but only by building local governments to a state where we give them the credits that they deserve, that we can move forward, right? I don't see how. No, the people must know who is doing what, and and there's many examples in Africa where a local government leader has been so successful at making the people happy that the state government gets upset and they pull their funding. I get that. It happens more often than we think. It's a problem. We need to give credit where it's due. And does that mean that the local government leader becomes the president? Maybe, or the state governor? Maybe. That's life, right? The issue, another issue you mentioned, this thing about new government, and they want to do new things and kill what the last government did. It happens everywhere, my friend. It happens everywhere. In the UK, it happens as well, right? And the Conservative government comes in, they'll say, "Oh, Labour was terrible. That socialist helping the people, rubbish. Let's close the programs down. That even though the ones that are working, they close them down, and then try and reinvent them when they realise that we need them." It's a problem. So that I don't think that should stop us voting and putting our faith in local government. I think we still need to put our faith in local government. That's where the answer really lies. I mean, you said it yourself. It's the nearest thing to the people. So we must keep building the power in local government. I don't know how else we're going to do it. If anyone knows otherwise, please, now by all means, do share with us. But thank you so much for coming on stage. And I hope to say, my friend, will get to meet you more and know more about your thoughts in the coming weeks. Mr. Hebron, meet Ayodele, because we'll be talking with him soon enough, especially about, I guess, governance in Eastern African countries. But being Nigerian as well, I know, of course, you understand the Western side, how Africa works as a whole. So I'm looking forward to learning more about your thoughts, my friend. Thank you so much. Henry, talk to me before we go, my friend.
Yeah, well, I just want to say thank you to everybody who participated tonight, and all the contributions. There's definitely a lot to talk about, and hopefully we can continue this discussion in the future. I don't want to add anything else tonight, but thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you, Henry. Look, Ayodele is your friend, right? The one we're going to meet, right?
Yes,
no?
We'll arrange a space. We'll talk about it after this.
We will. And so we'll plan an event, and that way you can hear more about the great man's thoughts. Thank you, Henry. You're a star, my friend. Henry's my web designer, by the way.
Thank you too.
They get to meet. Do get to know him. Do connect with him for sure. So thank you, everyone. If I've missed anything, do forgive me. So there's more conversation to be had. 2 weeks time, we'll be back again. So hopefully I'll bring Henry and Ayodele, Dr. Ayodele back as well. But of course, do join us. And if you've got issues you want to talk about, then let me know. Now Paulette had the last say, right? Paulette, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much, everyone. Look, enjoy your evening, enjoy your week. And go in the comments on the event page and connect with people that you resonate with. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I don't know if I've got my outgoing music, but I'm going to play what I started off with anyway, right? So that you hear my song again. Everyone that's joined us, thank you. Natalie Thomas, you're a star. Really, you're a star. So then Natalie shared many resources that you can read in the comments as well. So do engage with them and do connect with her especially. Thank you so much, everyone. Have yourself a great evening. Bye for now.
Bye.
new beat to your drum. Let's chase success.